Guys, you're welcome once again to another video of mine. This is the Waec objective physics question. Apologies, I should have posted this yesterday, but as usual, I'm very, very busy. And I have to do that as promised for you guys to check one or two things. Like I do say, this is not a concept video. I know most of my students will never have problems with physics. Physics is always our point of strength with mathematics. So I'm very sure most of you are going to do very well with this. And for your testimonies you guys are sharing, maybe I've seen the question before posting the revision or the preparatory class. The truth is I just pick up some questions which I think will come out. And luckily, they came out as if I am the one setting the questions. So congratulations to those who watched it. And for those who did not watch it, it's not the end of the world. You can tell your friends about this channel, let them come and see for themselves what we do here. So these are just exam question solution, which I'm going to do as usual. 1 hour, it is physics, it is not chemistry. So I have to do some calculations, and it is not based on concept. So like I do say, if you spot any error, you can always put it in comment box. I will attend to it and see if it's actually an error, and if it is it, I will tell you the right one, and I will definitely go through them. So it's normal. If there's an error, just let me know in the comments box. It may be error due to oversight and maybe because I'm rushing. So but all the way, I don't think I should have error in physics. Not at all, but nobody's above error. Let's get started. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this channel, because that is one of the most important things for us to be able to give you more good videos. Now, the first question says, I hope I am audible. Yes, I believe I am. Thank you. Yeah, we have the area under the force time graph. That's the first one. I think this is basically elementary SS1. Force times time is impulse. Impulse is change in momentum. I hope you understand that. So I am not going to waste time on that, as I'm going to pick option B for that. The next says, from the principle of flotation, a body sinks in a fluid until it displaces a quantity of fluid equals to its own dash. We've talked about this. Law of flotation, concept video, physics channel, you can check. That's why I said physics is not our problem. We all know that. So when weight is equals to the what, or you can even state the law of flotation, a body displaces its own weight on the fluid it's displaced. So a body will float when the thrust is greater than weight, and it will sink in the other way. You know what I mean? And that is that. Question 3. We have a diagram, and there we have suppose 3 identical steel balls, Q, R, and X, are placed on an undulating ground as illustrated in the diagram here. Which of these balls is or her in neutral equilibrium? For equilibrium, you have talked about it. I've done concept video on all this, even proving them, talking about the drawing about the target line of when the body is resting at its base. We've talked about that, and if you look at that, this will always be an equilibrium. If you draw the target line and find the potential energy at that point, you can always do that using the concept which I have explained. You can check it out on the physics channel. So without any further ado, this guy is at stable neutral equilibrium because it is resting on its base. So neutral means if a force is applied to it, it will still remain, it will always come back to its original position. Next, guys, next question is 4. The length of a simple pendulum is increased by a factor of 4. Wow. By what factor is its period increased? I will just use direct shortcuts. You know, I'm used to that when I'm doing physics. I don't like wasting time. So directly I can say, since we have learned from experiment that T is equals to 2 pi root L over G. I have done this under concept 2. So we are relating the length with the period. Directly, we can say the period here is proportional to the square root of length. That is, this is the relationship we are setting, a direct relationship, as you can see. So we don't need to waste our time since it is a direct proportional. So if this is increased by a factor of 4, so we can say square root of 4L. What is square root of 4L? The length will also be what? Square root of 4 is 2L. L. You can see what I'm talking about. So it will increase, the new period will increase by a factor of 2. I am not going to waste your time. I told you about the way I'm going to do the physics. So please, the next one. The next is 5. The linear expansivity alpha and the cubic expansivity gamma for material are related by this. Direct question on mechanical property of matter. We have talked about that. And property of matter, under that we've talked about linear, superficial, and cubic expansivity. So directly we can say gamma, which is cubic expansion, is equal to 3 times linear, which is the relationship we have set, which I believe you guys will definitely get, and this makes B to be valid. So the next is 6 now. Which of the following, which of the illustrated graphs below represent a body moving in uniform retardation? Retardation is the rate of change of velocity with time. That is, when the rate of change of velocity with time is decreasing. So decreasing curve is what you want to look for. And I think out of all the curve, they said uniform retardation. Wow, I love that. Uniform retardation. So we are talking about rate of change of velocity with time, which is the same. So please, when you talk about uniform, you know, it is always more like a straight, constant rate of change of velocity with time. So we can look for something that look like that. Like I said, all these are just basically things that you can all get on your own. Excuse me. Number 7 says, the correct relationship between the displacement x of a particle initially at rest in a linear motion and time t is dash. Okay, we are relating displacement with time. So since it's at rest, our 4 more formulas of linear motion, we can just say displacement and time, s is equals to half at squared. As the body is at rest, it is not accelerating. You can say s is proportional to t squared. Directly, we can just pick this answer without wasting our time. I hope you are following. The next question is, the joules is equivalent to dash. On simplification of that, you can say joules is equals to energy. Everybody knows. And energy, you have studied from early classes that it is power multiplied by time. Power is force times distance over force times distance. So multiply by time. Force, everybody knows, is measured in Newton. I'm talking about force is MA. Let me explain in details. Multiply by distance, multiply by time. Let's go by this. Mass is kilogram. Acceleration is meters per second squared. Multiply by seconds, multiply by another seconds. As you can see, this is just a simple thing. So I hope you understand. This is distance. It is measured in meter. Apologies, I will have screwed that. So please note that x here is distance and time is measured in seconds. On simplification, this gets cancelled out. This cancel one of these out. This is what I'm saying for you to see. Kilogram mx, that's 1 over x squared times m times x. This gets cancelled out. We are left with kg. We have m times m's are m squared, then s is square negative 1. So which is a direct formula you might have learned or seen in your textbook, which I don't think this one should be a problem for anybody doing this. I think choice A is correct to that. So please, that is that about that. Walking is also important sometimes, and I'll be doing that sometimes, not assuming that you all know the answers. Now, which of the following statements is or are correct about a fixed mass of gas that is compressed in an inexpansible container? Yeah, I think this also comes out in your chemistry question. I did something like this. When gas is compressed, we talked about that the speed of the molecule is increased. Maxwell equation. You can watch my constant video on all this. These are simple things. So this is physics. The average speed of the molecule is increasing. Yes, correct. I told you about that. Average speed will increase because it is being compressed. So they collide in more with the walls of the container. There'll be a kind of molecule to molecule and molecule to container collision. You can use Maxwell equation to actually get anything you want. But for the basics of the level of the exam we are writing or we are doing, we are limiting it with what we've been taught. So Chu says the temperature of the gas increases. No. It is an adiabatic process, and we say Q is equals to 0, and because of that, the temperature is not what also changes. So always keep that in mind. This is wrong. So the third one says the molecule hits the wall of the container more often than before. Absolutely correct. So I'm looking for 1 and 3. Hopefully it should be there. Yes, it is. This is option C, and that is the correct answer So the first 9 questions of your physics OBJ questions. I'll move to the next slide. I have 1 hour maximum to run this video. Apologies if I'm rushing. So I believe you can see all what I'm doing. Next question. Number 10 says, an example of a mechanical wave is dash. We know mechanical wave, acquire material medium, blah, 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 blah. You know example of electromagnetic. So I'm not going to waste time. Water wave is the answer, as radio, X-ray, and light are example of electromagnetic waves. The next thing is which of the following descriptions of the image found by a plane mirror is not correct? Everybody knows some characteristics of basic characteristics of image as is formed on a plane mirror, same distance, same size, never magnified. Image in a mirror will never be magnified. So, and I think that is always what Waec used to test, even UTME sometimes. So the image is erect, very good, and of the same size, absolutely correct. Laterally inverted, everybody know, image is upside down, and of the same size, perfect. Erect and bigger than, it is never magnified. So C is incorrect. That is the correct answer to that. The next question is, the efficiency of a wheel and axle is 100%. This is a pointer. Like I do say, a pointer will always tell you where you are going. So if the efficiency is 100%, as you can see, and the ratio of their radii is 5:1. You can see that as well. 5:1. That is, you can get the velocity ratio. Calculate the effort required to lift the load of mass 20 kilogram using this machine. Remember to take G as 10 meter per second square. So far it is a kind of machine that is 100% efficient. So directly we can say MA is equals to VR. You know the reason, because it is what? An ID machine. So why I'm saying that, so if I calculate the VR 5:1 here, that is VR of a wheel and axle is big R over small r. I hope you have been taught. Concept video available on the physics channel you can watch. So 5/1 is equals to 5. So what we are saying is MA is also equals to 5. So directly we can continue solving here and saying MA, everybody knows, is load over effort. So if the load is 20, so we have a mechanical advantage is 5, which is the same thing as V. Our load is 20. We are looking for effort E. By simplification, E is going to give you 4 kg. So you know you have to convert to Newton. That is 4 times 10. Everybody knows, and that is 40 Newton without wasting our time. So choice C is correct for question 12 of Waec. Next one is a freely suspended compass needle on the earth surface settle in the plane called dash. I have talked about this under the concept of magnetism, even when I'm doing jam prep class on the physics channel. So we have discussed extensively about the magnetic element, even to the extent of A level, talking about different concepts on what we call the magnetic meridian, the magnetic angle of inclination, the angle of the agonic lines, isoclinic lines, and so on and so forth. So we also talk about, moment of magnetic and other things that is important for different induction and calculation of magnetic moments. That is for A-level student. But for this is a simple question. A freely suspended magnet will always settle down in the direction where we say it is called the magnetic meridian. It is always measured by a compass needle, basically like this diagram not drawn to scale, which is going to be settling in the north-south direction. So it's the magnetic meridian. I think it's a cheap question that is always asked almost every time, according to our structure of asking question. Next is this. Object is placed at a distances U is equals to U from a converging length. Converging length is same thing as convex length. Of focal length 15, F is equals to 15.0 centimeter. Good. For what value of U does the lens act as a simple microscope? Oh, wow. Magnifying instrument. Optical instruments topic also available on the channel for concept. So about optical instruments, we talk about microscope. And microscope actually projects an image or magnify an image, not like your mirror we talked about. This is the final image formed on a microscope. Object is always placed at a distance that is greater than the focal length, and that is less than the twice the focal length. This is the position we use when we are working with a simple microscope or an hand lens microscope. So guys, we don't need to waste our time. So we look for the question is just testing our knowledge of understanding on how a simple microscope is being formed. So most people will say object is placed between F and 2F. Most of your textbook, this is what we did. We carry, yes, fine. Mine is like this, which is better. You can just look at this relationship. It is less than this. That means it is greater than F. It is less than 2. So that is what you are going to look for in your inequality way. Greater than F, less than 12. Greater than F, less than 12. It's not greater than 30. It is greater than 15. It is not greater than 30. So it is equals to 30. It is less than 15. Wow, wow, wow. So I think, yes, this is it. That is the correct answer. This should be the correct answer. Greater than F, less than or equals to 12. Please note that. I like that. This is a technicality question because that is why a microscope final image, if you adjust it sometimes, said it is always at infinity. So this is why I actually change this one to less than or equals to. In some cases whereby it is adjusted, it can be equals to twice the focal length. So please note that I'm picking B, and that is the right answer. That's a technical question, and that's a kudos to Waec. The next says, I hope you can see the periodic rise and fall in the intensity of sound when two notes of nearly the same frequency, that is on sound wave, characteristics or type of sound. We have talked about this on the concept video class. I think it's a bonus. That is all called throbbing of sound, which we call beats. Beats are produced when two waves of nearly the same frequency are sounded together. So beats is an example of interference. It can be constructive and it can be destructive. So we go for B for question 15, and that is marvelous. That is correct. Next says the power of lens is positive 2.5 diopters. What is its radius of curvature? So directly we have talked about power of lens under magnifying instrument or optical instrument. We say the power of lens is inversely proportional to the focal length and it is measured in diopters. Be careful about this question that radius of curvature. And you also know that radius of curvature is twice the focal length. So directly I can substitute or say F is half of the curvature radius. Directly I can substitute that the power of length will now be equals to 1 over R by 2. I hope you understand this. So I can interchange this one and say 1 divided by R by 2. I want you to follow my ways of reasoning. Directly you can get answer to question. So power of length is just equals to 1 divided by R by 2 is like saying 2 over R. So let's say 2 over R. So directly, or you can make R Sawyer formula if you want. So just not to waste your time, you can say R equals to 2 over P, or you do it like this too. So R will just be equals to 2 divided by the power of length. That's where I'm going. And directly we can say 2.5 divided by 2. So I have to convert my answer to centimeter, which I believe you have also been taught. I have a calculator here. Divided by 2 is 1.25. Let's check that. Or we do it one by one. If there's an error in what we have done, let's do it one by one. The power of length is given as, I want to do it directly now. Let's look at it. 2.5 is equals to 1 over F. Directly, I can say F equals to 1 divided by 2.5. So, excuse me, 0.4. So we know that radius will now be equals to 2 times 0.4. As I've said, this is twice of this, and that is 0.8. So to meter, please note that we multiply by what? Be careful about this because if you don't know them, it will really affect you. Those are the things you need to know because if you don't know, it will affect you. So now to convert this one to meter by what? I will multiply by 100. So if I multiply 0.8 by 100, I'm going to have 80 centimeter. So that's just diopters to centimeter. That's very important to keep in mind. So note that. So, but if you have even gotten 0.8 and you know you are working deltas and you are seeing 80 directly, you don't even need to waste your dear time. Question 17. 17 says the reasons for having a large number of turns in the coil of a moving coil galvanometer is to dash. We have talked about the torque of a moving coil galvanometer. I did this in the objective or preparatory class for UTME, talking about sensitivity of a galvanometer. So I said torque is equals to BANI. You can know strength, area, number of turns, and current. So to increase current sensitivity, we actually increase the number of turns. Always keep that in mind. And also use a small area to Arizona. So I'm not going into details of teaching concepts. I only want to focus more on your answers and why we are picking the right answer. So this is the answer. The increase in sensitivity is that the torque is proportional to this. And you know, of course, sensitivity of a galvanometer is always the current over the scale of angle deflection. So always keep that in mind. This is what we call current sensitivity. They are available on my channel. You can always learn. The next is current is passed through two parallel conductors in the same direction. If the conductors are placed near each other, I've told you, we've talked about magnetism and induction of magnetism. We're talking about Fleming left-hand rule or the right-hand thumb rule. I have done many videos on this, on magnetic properties. I'm talking about vertical wire, two parallel wire that are facing the same side, we attract each other. Please note that we've talked about this under the concept of vertical wire and determination of the magnetic field of parallel wire. So you can always watch that if you are the type that you don't have idea about these things. But if you have idea, this is a direct question. Two wires facing the same direction we attract. Please, because they are parallel wire, we are following the rule. It is not the rule of Benjamin Franklin now, which you guys might have made mistake and think like pose we repel. It is very rare. So please, the answer to question 18 of Waec question is D, and we move to 19. 19 says the period of a 10 kilohertz radio wave traveling at a speed of light is dash. This is speed of light. Everybody know period is inverse proportional to frequency. So directly we can say 1 over the frequency here is 10 raised to power 4. I hope you understand I come over 10 raised to power 4. This is 10 times 10 raised to power 3 because it is in kilowatts. So directly we can just move this 1 times 10 raised to power minus 4. You know what I mean by that. In standard form would be the answer in seconds. I hope you understand that. And that is also direct and simple. So I hope you don't make mistakes. Though mistake has no master, I do say. The next one is question 20. About 20, we have the magnetic materials produced from the chemical combination of metal oxides and that has a very high resistance to electric current is called that. There are three domain of magnetism. I have talked about this in concept video too. They are the diamagnetism, the paramagnetism, and the ferromagnetism. In your chemistry, your concept of chemistry, you have learned about diamagnetic substances. We use the concept of hybridization to actually note or pinpoint what diamagnetic substances. Now, in physics, we also use that knowledge, but we take it to the level of calculating the magnetic moment and the magnetic susceptibility. Now, the magnetic property of a substance that sets their length perpendicular to the magnetic field induction. Instead of in line with it, they set it perpendicular at a right angle. So those properties, what we call the property of a positive susceptibility. I guess that is greater than 1. So positive susceptibility. So they have high resistance of electric current. They don't conduct like that. And they are made from what? Their domain are made from what? From metal oxide. For example, iron oxide. Iron oxide is an example of diamagnetic substance. Transition metals, you know that. So ligands or ligands or anyhow you call it, your chemistry knowledge can be used to get this. Ferromagnetic substances are not made from metal oxide. They are made from elements from nickel, chromium, iron too, but not oxide of them, but rather from the metal itself. So the concept of chemistry can be used to get answer to this. Directly, I don't want to waste time. It is what? diamagnetic substance because they are made from what? Metal oxide and has a very high resistance to conduct electricity. So that is the answer to that. There is nothing to talk about more than what I have said. 21 says a body of mass m1 is moving with velocity, a body of mass moving with velocity v has a wavelength of lambda. I hope you can see this. Associated with it, the phenomenon is called dash, and this is just talking about mass, velocity, and wavelength. Photoelectric effect, it can explain photoelectric effect. Eisenberg uncertain principle, yes, we can use it. Compton effect, we can use it. So wave particle paradox, yes, this is the answer to the question, because all these effects we've talked about, we're talking about something having M and V is having what? Particle property. Having wavelength, that means it is what? Emitting. That means it also have wave property. So that is a kind of a wave particle duality property. So and that is why we are going for wave particle paradox. Compton effect is just the consequence of X-ray diffraction, which you might have studied for those of you doing JUPEB and following me on page. Eisenberg, we all know that momentum and what and position at the same time. Photoelectric effect is a consequence also of this. But be careful about it because the particle, a body is moving with a mass and is emitting, it's having a wavelength, shows it's also showing a wave-like and also showing a particle-like because it's having momentum. So that is why I'm going for this. So the next one is which of the following statements about a straight current carrying wire placed in a uniform magnetic field is correct? Wire carrying current, Knight-Hampton rule, or Clinton force rule, Maxwell corkscrew, anyone you want to use, everybody knows. They say it is maximum motor force if the current reverse its direction. We say which of the following is correct? Is correct. Please note that. Now, this is not correct. When current changes direction, force is not maximum. We know the formula F equals to BIL sine theta. Now, no motor force if it is parallel to the field. Absolutely correct. So when forces are placed parallel to the field, they say the angle is zero. And when angle is zero, force is not generated. So that means that is every other thing here is also wrong. So this is the only correct statement. You can read through them, but there is no need to read through what you already know and sure about. Question next is 23. Three cells, each of 1.5 volt. Each of the cell is 1.5 volts. Three of them will be, that means the total voltage is 3.3 volts. I am doing this directly. Internal resistance of 2 ohms are connected in parallel. So that means equivalent resistance, internal resistance will be 2 over 3, will be 3 over, that is 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2. Please note that. So that is 2 over 3. You can do that. I have done the parallel arrangement of resistances. So then they are now connected across a 3 ohm resistance is 3. The question is the current. Direct formula E over R plus R. I think this is calculator work. E here is 3.3, which I have written as V total. That is 3.3 over 3 plus 2 by 3. On substitution, this will be 3.3 over 3 plus, that's 0 0.66666. 3 times 6 are 18. Yeah, 0 0.66. That's 3.66. So directly, we should be able to get the answer. Thinking 0 0.90 is close. Let's check. Directly, I'm trying, my calculator has started as usual. Okay. Yes, I think it's working now. So I'm having, this is a 3.3. Wow. 3.3 divided by 3 plus this. So let's see. No. My calculator is doing rubbish. 3.3 divided by 3.66. 0.90. Because I'm seeing 1 point something. And I know this is bigger than this. So 0.90 is the current that is passing through the stuff. So this is valid. The next question. The next question says, which of the following statements about electric potential energy is not correct? So if we say it's not correct, Let's see, the electric potential energy of a positively charged, the total energy required to assemble particles. I've done this on the capacitors or dielectric, capacitors and dielectric. Watch it on my physics page. All these things are well demystified. Here, I'm only providing solutions. So apologies, and that is why I might make mistake. But if you listen to what I'm saying, you will see that I'm not making any mistake. So I might make mistake because I'm rushing, maybe in picking answer or anything. But it's very, very unlikely for me to do questions and make mistake unless, maybe an oversight or anything. So, but if you are having difficulty in getting the explanation, which is the most important thing, try as much as possible to watch the concept video. So the electric potential energy of a positively charged particle increases when it moves to a higher potential. Of course, electric potential energy increases if you are moving to a point of higher potential. Please note that they increase because we've defined positive charge as excess of what? Proton, and deficit of electron. I hope you understand. So excess of electron, excess of proton, excess of proton, deficit of electron. So that is why this is correct. The electric potential energy of a negatively charged increases when it moves to a point of lower. If this is correct, this is also correct. I hope you understand. It's just opposite of this. So you don't need to waste your time. Since the electric potential energy of positive charge decreases when it moves to a point of higher, you can say these and these two are opposite. So this is not correct. That's the answer. Don't let me waste time. The next question says, a galvanometer with a full-scale deflection of 20 milliamps is converted to read 8 volts by connecting 395 ohm resistors in series with it. High resistance in series is called a multiplier. That means galvanometer is converted into a voltmeter. So they say determine the internal resistance of this galvanometer. Direct formula, I've done this also on magnetic effect of current capture. You can check it out if you are a first timer on this page. So you can check out our other 2 pages whereby we have concept video and we are still working on it to improve you guys about visualization. Very soon we are going to start our video with our touch screen board. So anticipate, guys. Now we said direct formula, not to waste time. I said the high resistance is always equals to the internal resistance, the higher potential, let me call that one V1, minus the lower potential V0 over the lower potential V0. This is the formula we use for multiplying. There are different ways. Derivation are always available on my channel because that is the most important thing in case you forget formula. I can also do this in another way, but I think this is directly and common in secondary schools. So directly we can say the multiplier resistance is given as 395. I'm solving directly, my dear student, is equals to the small letter R you are looking for. The V, the capital V is given as 8 volts minus, let's do something. The small voltage is V is equals to I times the small r. The I is a current. It is given 20 milliamps is 0.02 amps. I have multiplied by 10 raised to negative 3 to get this. Multiply by the internal resistance, I don't know. So I'm writing VU in terms of 0.02 R over 0.02. On simplification, my dear students, I'll get cancelled out. I don't have time. You can multiply this by 0.02 and finalize. I'm doing that on calculator. 395 divided by, hope you can see me, 0.02 is giving me, this calculator I started, I don't know, maybe it's 19,750. That is what I'm seeing. This calculator can be funny. 19750, well, is equals to 8 minus 0.02 R. So you can confirm that because this calculator, I don't trust it. Calculator, what I'm saying, the values I'm saying is very high. Let's see again. This is our V equals to current is 20 times 10 raised to the power minus 3. I'm trying to do verification, please. 0.02, yes. V naught is 0.02. I'll get cancelled out. So I have this, then 395. My calculator is sleeping on my because I know this value is too high. It is 7.9. I have here. The ink on the surface is not even good. So this times this is 7.9. So this is 7.9 minus this. So negative 0.1 equals to negative 0.021. Negative gets cancelled out. R is equals to 0.1 over 0.02. So this should be equals to 5 ohms or 5 omega, anyhow you call it. So this would be the right answer to this. So that is how to solve questions on that. The next one is asking us on inductor of an inductance has L to be equals to 10 Henry and is connected across an AC of 50 volts, 100 voltage, you can see is 50 and the frequency is 100 Hz. So the question asks us to find the current in the circuit. Now doing that, we have to just use the direct formula we have learned from the concept of simple alternating current, also available on my physics channel. I is equals to over R. So, but here you need to understand something that your R is the SL. So you have to write V over the resistance here is the SL. So directly, you know SL is equals to 2 pi FL. I hope you have studied this. So 2 times pi is given also in bracket 33.14 times the frequency is 100. The inductor is 10. So that is 2000 times 3.14. 2000 multiplied, this calculator please, don't delay me, 6280. I hope it is correct. This calculator sometimes can do rubbish. So that's what I'm having. So we can just come here, the voltage that is passing 50 divided by 6280. So you go by 5 over 628. I think that should be 0.008. So let's see, 50 divided by that, 0.00.0079 ampere. So that is the right answer. So that is this, and that is the correct answer for that question. The next is the speed of fast-moving neutrons in a nuclear reactor can be reduced by dash. This is also on that topic of modern physics, which I have also covered on the physics page. You can also watch it, but more of them are coming in test visualization on this page on the modified channels. So just watch out. That to do this, I think it's a very simple stuff. We use carbon rod, or we use in chemistry we say what's it called? Deuterium 1 oxide, or deuterium, heavy water. Yeah, heavy water is also used. That was Lewis. If you remember Lewis under your Lewis acid, for those of you who are also chemistry students. So without wasting time, carbon rod can be used and it's also cheap. So graphite is what is written here. Graphite is carbon from your chemistry knowledge. So this is the answer to slow down. We use boron rod. We know what boron rod is used to do. So I believe you still remember that. So guys, let's move on. Time is not on my side. I'm giving that this is just question 28 or 50. Now, in a series RLC circuit at resonance, impedance is minimum, right? So SL is equals to SC, right? So everybody can do that. You know the meaning of that. So we can move on. The next one is a lamp is rated 240 volt, 60 watt. Determine the resistance of the lamp. Power, current, voltage. Power is V squared by R. So if you are making out the subject of relationship, it will be V squared by P. V squared divided by the power. So that is how V squared over P. I hope you can do that. This is lagging. Just square the voltage. That is 240 squared divided by 60. 4 times 240, something like that. That's 960, I guess. Let's do calculator work because for me, I don't like all this one, but I just have to do it. 960 is correct. So that is that. So 960 ohms. So it's a direct and bonus question. I believe everybody will get. Don't just give examiner marks. The next says, one major reason why electrical appliances in homes are added is to prevent electric short. Electric shock. We've talked about this under what we call RC circuit on my page. You can check it out. So this is just person whatever is safe from electric shock. The next one, in doping of an intrinsic semiconductor to produce a p-type. Doping is addition of impurity. Semiconductor part 2, physics channel, you can watch it. Now, when you add impurities, that is It's either you have p type or n type. If you had group 3 or trivalent, the way it is being called, that is p type. Group 5 pentavalent. So, and you know the characteristics of group 3. Aluminum is group 3, for example. That is a metal. What is the characteristics of a metal? They give out what? Electrons. You know what it is. So they are what? The semiconductor is a but a donor element is added. You understand? That is the answer to the question, as aluminum is the donor element. I hope you understand the logic. The next is arrange the following radiations in order of increasing ionization of air. You know that. Maybe I should help you, but I believe you all know that. So everybody knows increasing. Please note that. Don't make mistake when you are doing the ionization energy. You know what we mean by that, alpha, beta, gamma. So that is that. About that, we go to the next page. I have to focus on the most important one, 33, because I'm being signaled that I don't have time again. So I think I have been too nice in solving. Let's move on. If the kinetic energy of an electron is 100 electron volts, I should make a rule. 100 electron volts, Ke is equal to 100 electron volts. You know what it means? 100 times 1.6 times 10 to the power negative 19. I did this one in our, what's it called, preparatory stuff, and most of you guys said it comes out, so which makes me very happy. This is 2 minus this one minus 17 joules. So now that is the Ke. If the wavelength, okay, we are to find the wavelength of the Brodelius. Oh, wow. So the Brodelius wavelength is lambda equals to h over p, where p is the momentum. So directly, we can just relate momentum with kinetic energy. From my videos on work energy and power, if done question on momentum and kinetic energy. If you still remember, I say K equals to p squared over 2m, or p raised to power 2. I used to tell you, don't say p squared. So p raised to power 2 over 2m. So directly, we can say making momentum sort of formula, it be square root of 2m k. So what I just need to press is just lambda equals to h is Planck constant, is given 6.6 times 10 raised to power negative 34. I am dividing all these answers with square root of this 2m. 2m, what is the mass of electron? 2 times mass of electron is 9.1 times 10 raised to power negative 31 multiplied by 2, okay, 2m times Ke is 1.6. Please, everything is under this root, times 10 raised to power minus 70. So the rest is just to punch my calculator. And if I punch calculator correctly, apologies, let me do that quickly. Square root and 6.6. Yeah, I'm having 1.22 times 10 raised to power minus 10. So that is the answer to the question. So guys, I think you guys will get this one too if you were being patient enough to solve and solve well. Gamma rays are produced when dash high velocity electrons are abruptly stopped by metals. No. Energy changes occur within the nucleus of an atom. Yes, they are gamma ray are produced within the nucleus of a radioactive substance. We all know that. So this will be valid. So we don't need to waste our time. The next one. The half-life of a radioactive substance is 15 hours. The half-life is 15 hours. That means capital letter T is equals to 15 hours. Fine. If at some instance the sample has a mass of 1512, initial mass is equals to 512 grams. Calculate the time it will take 7/8 of the sample to decay. Number that is decaying. Oh, wow, I think this one is a simple question. So it's 7/8. You can say M1 is now 7/8 of this if you want to waste time. But I don't need to waste time because that one will waste my time. Why can't I just say, okay, now if 7/8 has decay, the number that will remain will now be initial sample. I take it as 7/8 has decay. The number that will remain is 1/8. So that's just the fastest way to get this. If the initial something is 1, 7/8 of it as a will mean 1/8. So we know from knowledge of t equals to t over n. We are looking for the time. This guy is 15. Let's get n. There are many methods you can use to get n, but I think the direct method is the method of relationship between n and n naught. I have it on my channel. N equals to n naught open bracket 2 raised to power negative small t over capital T. Directly you can do it and get your answer. So, and if you don't want to use that, you can also use, I think this is also famous, Nn equals to n naught over 2 raised to power n. Anyhow, you are doing it. All that matters is for you to know how to substitute and get answer. So what I'm saying now is that this is 1 over 8 n naught. So 1 over 8 n naught, it will cancel out. So then you do, or you just do the direct way from this one directly. Directly you can say, let me write here. From here you can say 2 raised to power n equals to, from here, 1 over 8 will also flip over. It be equals to, this is 2 raised to power n equals to 2 raised to power 3, as 8 equals to 2 raised to power 3. So what I'm doing now is that from here, I equate the power n is equals to 3. So and directly I can now come back to this formula instead. Capital T is 15. I'm looking for small t. So small t will be equals to 15 times 3, which is equals to 45 hours. And option C is valid for this question. The next says 36. When the direction of vibration of particle of a medium is perpendicular to the direction of wave, that's just definition question. The wave is what? A transverse wave. I hope we all get that, as it's more like a bonus mark. The next is 37. A hunter fires a gun, is gone at a point 408 meters away from a cliff. If he hears an echo 2.4 seconds later, determine the speed of sound wave. The speed of sound of echo has been discovered by your teachers too is twice the distance by time. So directly we can just calculate the speed by multiplying twice of the distance, 408, dividing that by the time is 2.4. So the rest should be punching calculator thing. I think this is 680. But let me verify. 2 times 408 divided by 2.4 is 340 meters per second. So that is the right answer to this question. The next question is the distance between the fixed point of mercury in glass thermometer is 30 centimeters. Distance between, fine. Determine the temperature when the mercury level is 10 centimeters above the lower fixed point. So this one is a question on hypsometer, which everybody can do. Or directly, if you don't know how to draw hypsometer, you can use direct formula. 0 theta over 100 is equals to distance between the two guys is always R. I'm using resistant thermometer. R theta minus R naught over R 100 minus R naught. 100 is 10.0 is ice point. So I'm looking for theta in this question. I can say theta by 100 is equals to, if I can also use this particular simple method of graduation, which this person also tried to do, which I think the person should be correct to. So R theta minus R, they said distance between ice and steam point is what? Determine the temperature when the mercury level is 10.5 above the the lower fixed point. So this guy is 10.5, and the distance between the fixed point of a mercury in glass thermometer is 30. This guy is 30. So we can just cross multiply and get our answer. So we can say 3000 divided by 10.5. Wow, I think I've made a mistake. Sorry. Let me read well. Oh wow. They said when the mercury level is 10.5 above the lower fixed point. Sorry about that. This guy is has error. Sorry about that. Apologies. So this guy is 10.5 and this guy is 30. Difference between upper fixed point and lower fixed point. See, the distance between the fixed point is 30. The true fixed point is 30. So we can say 100 times 10.5 divided by 30. That's just the answer. 100 times 10.5 divided by 30. Directly, you can also do it with the basic method, that is 35. So theta is 35. So you can do it with the basic method of drawing the isometer graduation, which is basically what almost everybody will do. And I think that one is better. So the next question is 38. Which of the following statements about electromagnetic wave is not correct? Is not correct. So the one that is not correct, they carry high energy is correct. They travel within the speed of light is correct. The next one says they are longitudinal. They are not longitudinal. It's not that. They are not longitudinal. So now what longitudinal means is that the direction of wave is the same thing as the direction of propagation. They travel in the same phase. Now look at the electric field of the electric and magnetic field are at right angle to each other. Yes, 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 yes. They obey the inverse square law. So note that. The next one says calculation. I have to clean again. The calculation question says the diameter of a brass ring at 30 degrees Celsius is 50 centimeter. So what temperature, sorry, I'm cleaning that so I'm reading carefully. So what temperature must the ring be heated to increase its diameter to 50.29 temperature difference? I can use the knowledge of linear expansivity directly and solve. But let's see if we can use another short. I don't even know which will be shorter, but I think directly I know that the change in length is equals to alpha, the new length, and the change in temperature. I'm thinking this should be better. Change in temperature will equals to change in length over alpha L. So whereas here we can say change in length is this guy minus this guy. That is 50.29 minus 50. I can say 0.29. This is alpha is this 1.9 times 10 to the power minus 5 times the length, initial length is 50. So I'm getting this one. I'm going to point calculator. I need to punch 1.9 times 10 to the power of negative 5. We are multiplying that by 50. We are dividing the answer by 0.29. So I'm doing that here. We have 305.2.263. So this is the change in temperature. And you know, change in temperature is theta 2 minus theta 1. So that's the change in temperature. It's 305.263. They asked me to find the new temperature, theta 2 will now be equal to this one. The answer we had plus theta 1. The initial temperature is 50. So adding this answer to 50, 30, sorry. Initial temperature is 30. So that is 335.26. Okay. Which I think is faster than using k equals to 1 minus. Well, you can use any one. So far you have the answer. That is what matters. Solve the answer and get the right answer. Last question on this page says, which of the following concept is a method of heat transfer that does not require material medium? I think this is a bonus mark. Don't let us waste time. Addition is an example of electromagnetic wave and do not require material medium. Question 42 to 50, which is the last set of questions. We have which of the following statements about light traveling from one material medium to another is not correct? The refraction angle is less than incident angle if the speed of light is higher in the first material. We have studied V equals to F lambda. We know the relationship between V and lambda. We can always do that. So density, refraction, when light changes direction, wavelengths changes, speed changes, frequency, will always remain constant. So basic concept from junior classes. You don't need too much of formula. You've studied to the level of Snell's law for Waec students. I think all these are very simple. So this is correct. So it bends away from normal if its speed is lower than the first material. Yeah. When a ray of light travels from a less dense medium to a denser medium, you know that we have talked about that many times. Excuse me. That when a ray travels from a less dense medium to a denser medium, it bends towards normal. But if it travels from a denser medium to a less dense medium, it bends away from normal. You understand? And that is the concept of total internal reflection. So if you have ray travel from light to air to water, you can see it bends towards normal. Less dense or rarer medium to a denser medium. These are basic concepts. So if it is from a denser medium to a less dense medium, ray of light bends away from normal. All these you have learned. So that statement too is always, it's also correct. So they said the one that is not correct. Light is traveling from one material medium to another. You understand? Please note that. The next one say its frequency changes. Now you can see I said that in my word. I said frequency does not change. Frequency remains constant. So please note that frequency remains constant. So this is not correct. The wavelength does not change. Yeah, the wavelength of a light ray traveling from one material medium to another can also change, but also it can also be maintained at the same wavelength. Please note that in the speed, but the frequency does not change. Whether it is changing from one material to another, there's nothing. So its frequency changes the statement that does not go with the frequency remain constant when light is bending. Which of anything about light traveling from one material to another is not correct. So when light passes through one medium to another, it bends. And when it bends, it says it has been refracted. And during refraction, frequency remains the same. So the next one is 43. I can see my time, please. I can just give me time. I will soon finish, please. The next says the engine of a car provides a forward force of 1240 Newton, and the resistive force on the car is 800 Newton. If the mass of the car is 1220 kilogram, determine the distance of the car that the car has traveled from rest before acquiring the speed. So let's just do a kind of change in force. That is the 1240 minus 800. I think that's 440. So net force, I've subtracted the force, is 440 Newton. Directly, I can say F equals to MA. So A equals to, I'll divide 440 by the mass. I think the mass is 1220, because it won't move with this particular force. Hope you understand. That is why I can use the parameter. So we know that I'm looking for the what? The distance. S equals to, I'm using from V square equals to 2S for some of us that we are not so good in understanding stuff directly. Let me take you by steps. S will be equals to V square over 2A. So V square will be 4 squares as, this is V, 4 squares are 16. This is lagging over 2 times A, which you can punch. 440 divided by 1220. I'm multiplying the answer by 2. 0.721. I'm dividing 16 by that answer, 2.21. So the answer is 2.218. So which is approximately 2.22. Is it 2.21? 22. I'm dividing it by 440 over 1220 times 2. So punch your calculator for this, you are going to get 22.18 meters. So and that is the valid answer here. So the next one says a quantity of water of 0 degrees Celsius, apologies, of 0 degrees Celsius is heated to 30 degrees Celsius. For each degree rise in temperature, its density will dash. we've talked about, because it is water, anomalous behavior of water, you know that. Normally, we know the concept is density is mass over volume. Everybody knows that. When temperature is increased, volume increases. When volume increases, you expect density to decrease, right? When density decrease, yes, and when volume is increased, density will fall, then it will rise again due to anomalous behavior. I will take that again. Temperature is increased, volume of the water will also increase. When volume of the water increase, you expect this to fall, to decrease. So when volume increases, density will, because of this relationship. Then after that, because of anomalous behavior of water, it will also rise again and later fall. So that is just why we are picking that as the correct answer. The next one is a small object of mass 50 g. Wow. Is released from a point A. Determine the velocity of the object when it reaches the point B. A vertical distance. So far it is released, there's a conservation of energy. I don't need to waste your time. We are calculating the what? The velocity. I can just say V is equals to under root of 2gh, because energy has been conserved. You know what I mean? Half mv square is equals to mgh. M gets cancelled out. You can see you are coming with this one. V square equals to root equals to 2gh. Then make this sort of formula directly, you can apply formula. So that is what I'm going to do if I'm you. So I only need to what the mass is irrelevant in that kind of question. Square root of 2 times 10 times height is 30. So this is square root of 600. Square root of 600 should be, I don't know, maybe 24.5. Let's check it out. Square root of 600, yes, it should be just for also 24.49. So I think that is also a direct question. The next one is molecule moves in random motion within a liquid. The total internal energy of the liquid depends on all of the following except that kinetic energy depends on temperature, mass of substance, the change in temperature, but does not depend on the melting point. I think this person also has picked the right answer. The next one, because of time, I have to be fast. 47 says the viscosity of fluid depends on the following, except viscosity is opposite of friction. So viscosity is opposite of here. They say factor that affect viscosity, concept video, you can watch it on my physics channel. We have area exposed, we have temperature gradients, temperature ds by dt, or you say dy by dt, and we have eta, that's also called the coefficient of viscosity. This is what affects viscous force. Viscosity does not depend on the nature of of the substance, but friction depends on the on the does not depend on normal reaction, but friction depends on normal reaction. You know that. You have learned that in your junior classes. Next one, uh, using the vernier calipers, which of the following readings gives the correct measurement for the length of the rod? I think this is testing you on the number of decimal places a vernier caliper can estimate. And everybody know VPV, vernier caliper VC can estimate up to 2 decimal places or of places. So just look for 2 dp in centimeter. I don't think we should have issues with that. Then 49 and 50. Yes, the basic principle of operation of beam balance. Beam balance is working on beam balance measure mass. So mass is principle of moment of force about the point, mass moment. Hope you understand. So whereby our spring balance works on Hooke's law. That is difference between mass and weight. The last question, but not the least, question 50 says, in which of the following situation is friction not useful? Wow. Operation of grinding machine, friction is useful. Working so that you won't fall. Application of brakes, yes. So that the frictional force, yeah. Moving a piston, this in piston, friction, in fact, friction is what causes a lot of, it causes a kind of a disadvantage. So friction causes about a mechanic about 20 to 25 disadvantage in piston. So dear students, that is the answer to this. I hope there is no error. If there's any error, feel free to comment on this thing on the comment box. We can quickly look into it and correct it in the comment box together. So guys, I will stop here. See you guys soon with the continuation of my concept video. You have a wonderful time. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, watch the video to the end, and subscribe to this channel. See you soon. Bye for now.